Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Abundance Club. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's start. Let's start for a moment with a breath. Hey, maybe you're sitting here listening to this and you're already feeling centered and grounded, and you're like, Amy, I'm here, I'm ready. Or maybe you're in the car, or maybe you are like me. Sometimes I listen to podcasts when I'm making my kids food or cooking or whatever it is. Maybe you're on the run. Literally, maybe you're running. Whatever you're doing, take a breath with me. Just take a long, deep breath in through your nose and a slow, cleansing breath out through your mouth. And just take a pause wherever you are. And in this pause, I want to remind you that there is so much power in your presence. There is so much power within you. There is so much light. There is so much potential and capacity. And I don't think you realize, because our thinking can't realize, right? We have to feel it and embody it and take those moments to really feel it, just how miraculous, how powerful, and how miraculous you are. So I felt called, and thank you for taking a moment to do that, right? Just a really brief moment is all it takes to remind yourself how powerful you are and to anchor back into presence. Take that little pause. And what I wanted to share today, I felt called to come on today and produce this episode, this week, right now. And it is around the 8-8 Lionsgate portal. Maybe you're listening to this just in the lead up to it or on it or post it. It doesn't really matter, because this isn't going to be a whole episode on the Lionsgate portal. That's not what my intention is. There is already a lot of noise about this particular portal, which is fine, right? Some are feeling really called to educate and inspire people around its meaning and its power. That's not something that I'm doing in this episode, so bear with me, but I do feel to share something that came through really strongly, and I wonder if you feel this yourself or resonate with this. So, when I tune into this, and I'll get into what this portal is about for those that might be listening and thinking, I don't even know what you're talking about. We'll get to that. But what comes through is a little different than perhaps what maybe you've been hearing if you haven't been hearing stuff about this, but it feels in alignment with what I teach. And so I'm not surprised that this is the guidance that came through and the feeling to really share that and put this out through this channel. And that is, we really don't need a day or a week or a portal to give us permission to manifest. We don't need a special date in order for the universe to hear us, in order for us to manifest, because manifestation isn't something that happens on a particular date, right? It's not about an event or even about a ritual. Yes, all of that can help, and I'll get to that. But what I really want to remind you of here is this is who you are. Manifestation is who you are. We are manifestors. What does that mean? We are creators. We are creating all the time, always, every day, not in what we do, but in who we are. And I'll come back to this, but I want to share firstly, if you are listening to this and wondering what this portal is, I'll explain what I understand as the reason this particular day and this date is so celebrated, and why you've probably heard this broadcasted around about in different communities and channels and so forth. So the Lionsgate portal is said to occur every year when the sun is in Leo and is associated with the star Sirius, which is the brightest star in our sky. Whilst many astrologers are saying this isn't a literal astronomical, is that even a word? Is it astronomical? I'm going to use it if it's not. Forgive me if it's not. Astronomical, I can't even say it, alignment in the way that some believe it is and some describe. I'm not an astrologer, clearly. Um, it still carries symbolic and energetic meaning, right? And this is combined with the numerology of 8, the 8th of August. And often, therefore, because of that numerology, and I'm big, like you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, like I have a necklace that says 888, which was given from a dear friend of mine. So I love angel numbers and numerology and all that, all for that, right? So often that sequencing is linked to abundance, infinity, higher consciousness, prosperity. So it's seen as a potent moment for intention setting, for ritual, for connecting to higher possibilities. So is there powerful alignment right now with the Lion's Gate? Sure, absolutely, right? And if you believe that, your intentions are amplified, right? If you believe that this is a powerful day to manifest, then it will be. Possibly, yes, because of the actual alignment, but even more so because you believe it, right? And this comes back to our power. And yes, if there is collective belief and collective resonance and contribution, even better, because when we contribute to a belief collectively and we pray or do ritual or meditate or offer shared intention around that, yes, that is amplified, right? There is extra magnetism in that. That is the power of coming together. And I think that's why, even celebrating the new calendar year on the 1st of January, even though I'm not one for doing all of the resolutions, because to me, it's just another day, still there is that amplification of there being shared energetic intention around that day. So that in and of itself is powerful. So by all means, if that means ritual and resonance for you, go for it if you feel that. And with that, there is a part of me that feels, and this is what came through, is this another distraction? I see so many that are speaking about this portal, and I'm not saying anything against that, but saying this is the moment to manifest big, to call in what you desire. And yes, I get that there are times that are more potent for that, where there can be amplification, like around the new moon, for instance, as an example. But I can't help but wonder, do we sometimes use these days like an excuse? Like, this is the day that I'll manifest. I'll wait and I'll do it all on the 8th of the 8th. This is the day I'll do the ritual. But what if? What if every single day is a portal? What if you lived your life as if every day is a portal? That there is no, like for me personally, I haven't had that big calling. My soul hasn't been calling me to do a lot on that day, to be in ritual, to be, because I'm now living my life as if every day is the ritual. And maybe for you, you're sitting there going like, I require these reminders, and that's all great. Let this meet you where you're at. Because ultimately, it is your resonance, not a date on the calendar, that creates your world. And your resonance is something that you tap into. That's who you be in any given moment on any day. So, what if you're in that ritual and that resonance every day and every moment? And this is how we are being asked to live in order to anchor in the new earth, that higher vibrational frequency where we start to live heaven on earth. And I won't go too much into that. I feel like that can be reserved for another podcast episode. But what I'm getting to here is that when we do that, we don't need a day, because we are already the living embodiment of the life that we want to call in. We are already living that vision. If you are already living your vision, if you're already the embodiment of the life you want to call in, are you needing anything else outside of you to dictate? Are you seeking anything else other than the remembrance in each moment of who you are and your power? The abundance isn't something we summon on a portal day. It's a natural reflection of our state of being. It is who you are. So your power doesn't turn on one day a year or particular times of the year. It's alive in you right now. And my work is very much about empowering you to remember that, knowing that you don't need anything, even any ritual, FYI, that is outside of you to affirm that. Your belief, your sovereign choice is the affirmation. It kind of reminds me of Mother's Day a little bit, right? Like we use it as in that we use it as a reason to celebrate our mums, and that's beautiful. Great. We receive the gifts. We have that beautiful time with our family. Wonderful. But what if we lived in a way that celebrated them every day? Right? What if we remembered that our power to manifest, to create, to co-create with the divine isn't dependent on the calendar, right? So if today or this time, I know August is a powerful month, and don't get me wrong, I can feel that. I can feel that there is definite charge. So what if we use this time to inspire ourselves to anchor deeper, to set intentions, to dream bigger, to remind ourselves that we are already that we might be seeking through particular portals, that we're here now, right now, whether you're listening to this on the 7th, on the 8th, or the 21st, on the 1st, or the whatever. So that's my feeling. And this brings me into what I really want to speak to today. And that is this idea of playing in higher timelines. And if you want to explore that more at this time, go for it. And also, you get to do this every day. I talk about timelines quite a bit, so I want to just break that down. What am I saying when I mean a timeline? What we're really talking about is an energetic frequency. Everything is a frequency, right? This is who we are. So it's a reality that exists as a potential for you right now. You don't have to go anywhere. This isn't linear. This is quantum. Okay. So how it can help you to understand this, and this came to me in my meditation this morning as a little reminder, is to reflect on the life that you are living today. 4, 5, maybe 6, maybe 10 years ago for you. Wasn't this once a dream? Right? Or perhaps it wasn't even within the scope of what you thought was possible for you. Maybe it was just bigger. It's even bigger than what you believed could be possible for you. Right? Maybe you've already surpassed what your mind could conceive for you back then. I wonder if you have. It's really important that we take these moments to reflect on that, because quite often we're always looking at what's the next thing, what's the next goal, and we just keep moving that goalpost further and further away without looking at, like, I am here now. I am here now. I am living that life now. The power in the present moment, everything exists in the present moment, even all of these timelines. They're not out in there. We think it is. We think it's a future because our brain is used to, in this three-dimensional realm that we're in, looking at things as linear timelines, as past, as present, as future. When we move from that dimensional frequency, we move beyond the realm of time and space, in which case everything is existing simultaneously. And this is how we are able to tap into those potentials right now. Okay, they're portals into potentials that already exists for you and ones that you get to align with. Now, there are countless timelines that are available in any moment. Yes, some are more rooted in logic and probability and what feels realistic. And maybe that's the realm that you've been used to dwelling in. Right? It needs to make logical sense. It needs to be realistic. So therefore, any goals that I set are going to be in that realm of what I believe is possible. This is third dimensional frequency, right? Where we are bound by the notion of separation, right? So we play in the rules of probability. We don't believe in this realm that we can access any possibility and potential. We don't believe that we are already connected and tapped into that. So that's more of this third dimensional frequency. And by the way, we can move through these different frequencies at different times. So there are others. There are higher dimensional frequencies, fourth, fifth dimensional frequency, even sixth dimensional frequency, that start to and then escalate more beyond what your mind believes is possible. The higher that you go, the more that you start to play in more realms of miracle consciousness, right? Where we are not bound by the constructs of the third dimensional reality. We are not bound by separation and the other things that come from separation, like scarcity, like lack. So we open then to possibilities beyond logic, beyond rationale. So 6 years ago, for me personally, if this helps, my mind likely wouldn't have believed that the life I'm living now is possible, or it would have at least restricted it in my own envisaging based on the reality I was living in back then, right? My mind would have had questions around how is that possible? And that would have, in a way, limited my own visions. But luckily, that none of that matters because when we start to tune into our soul, we remember that our soul holds the map. Our mind doesn't need to know. Our mind isn't directing us. And our soul has a far bigger plan because it's tapped into the great plan, it's tapped into divine consciousness and oneness. So it has a far bigger plan than what we can logically envisage. And our soul is here to lead us and to guide us to live in a higher timeline, one that is most in alignment with our soul truth. You might call this your destiny. And there is a level of predestiny, right? Predetermination of that particular timeline when we allow it. We still have free will when we choose that. So it's here to support us to live in that higher timeline. Now, I like to call this timeline the miracle path or the miracle zone because we can access miracles when we move into that alignment and that resonance. And so, what are miracles? And I'm just wrapping up my Magnetism and Miracles program, group coaching program that I'm doing with these incredible women. When we talk of miracles, and I love referring to the Course of Miracles if you haven't, if you're not familiar with that, the Course of Miracles says that a miracle is a shift in perception. So it's when we move from fear into love. It's when we move from what is probable into what is infinitely possible for you. It's when we move from the lack and limitation into knowing that we are abundance. So it's the frequency of expansion and of infinite possibilities and of outcomes that don't make sense to our logical mind but feel deeply aligned with our soul. And this is where we can kind of be in this place where we dance between the two, where we can feel there's something more, and then we get pulled back into the logical mind that wants to keep us safe and in the familiar, and it says, hang on, that doesn't make sense. How is that going to happen? That's not logical. Be realistic, Amy, blah, 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 blah. The truth is, you can access this zone, you can access this timeline, you can play in the higher realms and ultimately collapse the illusion of time so that you can live that now. Looking back for me, 2019, 2020, 2021, around this time, I couldn't have dreamed the life I was living now. My mind didn't have the framework for it. And I was hemmed in, as many of us are, by what I believed was probable. And yet, and this is an important piece here, there was a deeper knowing that something far greater was calling me forward. And that was enough for me to start to lean into it, to start to dance with it, to start to follow the nudges, to start to take the steps, to begin to listen more to that inner guidance, which then allows the higher timeline to unfold and anchor. And so maybe you feel that too. What is that? What is that? It might feel really deep. It might just feel like a knowing in your bones. It might feel like a quiet hum of a whisper that's not giving you the full roadmap, but is just urging you to start to pay attention and listen. And, our feelings become a portal for this, really. How am I feeling? Does this actually feel aligned for me now? Does this job that I'm in, is this serving me? Does it feel right? right? Is this relationship or these relationships that I'm in, are they expanding me or am I coming away feeling restricted, contracted, tired, drained? Like your body is speaking to you. So if you're feeling a sense of this, I want you to know that you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You can play in these higher realms now, and that is what moves you. That's what shifts the frequency. Remember, the energy moves first and faster. Matter, life, your external circumstances can play catch up. So when you dwell in them, this is how we collapse time. When you embody the frequency of the life that feels miraculous, that feels abundant, that feels joyous, even before you can see it with your eyes, even before you have evidence in your three-dimensional printed, 3D printed reality of what that looks like. This is what we are being invited to do, is anchor the frequency before we see the results and the evidence. Okay. And even if you sense that whatever it is that you are drawing in this timeline, even if you sense right now it's beyond your mental comprehension, do not let that hold you back, because your soul knows. That infinite part of you knows. And so for me, looking back to 2021 now, before I started making the guided moves to put our house on the market to sell, to leave the city and move to the coast, to let go of certain relationships in my life that I knew weren't serving me, to sell our business of 15 years, right? Even before all of that, I was in a place of preparation. And maybe you're in that place now. And I did not know necessarily what was coming, but I knew to follow a seed within me that I could feel was waiting to bloom. And I don't know if follow the seed, but I certainly knew to nurture it, right? To follow a pathway that was beginning, that was just the right edges of it were beginning. It's like if when you've got a torch and you're shining it on the path and you can only just see that little bit that's illuminated, and I don't know where that path is taking me, but I'm just going to follow this little illuminated spot and take that next half step. So I used to play in a timeline where I was living in the house that I am living in now. And the reality of where I am now is better than what I was conceiving, right? And I love this because soul has a bigger plan, spirit has a bigger plan. However, what I was conceiving, the feeling and the frequency was the same, because the feeling is always the secret. The feeling is the amplifier. The feeling is the magnetism. And so there were tools that I used and that I continue to use, embodiment codes and frequencies that allowed for the unfoldment of that timeline in a seemingly short amount of time in a way that was more divine and miraculous than what I could have conjured up. Like, I literally saw miracles play out. And this is what happens when we know how to utilize our power, not on one particular day, when we know how to live from that place and work with the Creator, when we know how to co-create with divine consciousness that is here to work through us, to move through us. Remember, the divine, the Creator, requires us to say yes to our assignment as much as we think that we require that. We are in collaboration. So your expansion, your growth, your unfolding is certainly not just serving you. It is serving the collective, what is here on planet Earth. It is serving the greater collective. Like, apparently, and I sense and feel this as well from my own soul team, we have more support here available to us on this earth plane from the other dimensions, from behind the veil, from the other realms, than we've ever had before. because we are in this time of great awakening and expansion and acceleration. And so later on this month, in a couple of weeks, on August the 22nd, I am hosting a live masterclass where I'm going to be sharing what these codes are because they're transformational. And these are the energetic keys that have helped me step into the miracle zone and continue to support me. This is something that we like step in and step out of to live and dwell and play and expand in the way that my soul has chosen to. And I want to share them with you because, in truth, and coming back to what I shared earlier on in this episode, we can start living this way now. We don't need to wait for anything outside of us to give us that go ahead or that permission. Embodiment isn't a turn off, turn on, turn on, turn off. And I was even sharing this in a call that I did this week with my coaching community. It's living as the channel is not something that we turn on and we turn off. We are the channel. We are our embodiment, and it's how we move, it's how we breathe, it's how we choose to feel. It's the vibration that we align with every day. That is what collapses timelines. That is where manifestation becomes so much more instantaneous. And let me tell you, it is not done through the old template of manifestation. It is not done through force and effort and even this overemphasis on action and productivity. The new template of manifestation is frequency based, and the ones who are living that are birthing miracles. And miracles not as this far off phenomenon that happens once in a blue moon if you're lucky, miracles as your norm, right? Because you ultimately you are the living miracle. And when we start to believe that and remember that and anchor into that, my gosh, just wait and see what life has in store for you. So I want to plant this seed that you are not bound by the timeline that you're on. So if you are sitting there looking at your life going, I would love to shift this, right? It's only you that can do this. It starts with you choosing. It does not start from an external situation changing. You are free to step into those higher frequencies right now. And if you want to join me in the Miracle Zone on August 22nd, I'm going to support you to anchor into that. I will pop the link in the show notes, right at the top of the show notes, for you to jump in and get your ticket. Or if you want to play in this zone and operate from this zone consistently, you can join my Abundance Club membership, which is called Soul Leaded Magnetic. I'll pop the link here as well. And you get this masterclass for free. This masterclass will be included in that. So even if you're listening to this episode post August 22nd, you get the replay of that inside my Abundance Club membership, as well as all of the other goodness that is in that membership, which now includes a monthly call with me to support you in your progression, which includes coaching support, which also includes all of the tools and practices that help to keep us anchored in a higher frequency template. Because it's not something that just happens on autopilot. Yes, it can take conscious. I don't want to say awareness. I don't want to say effort. I want to say awareness. Our consciousness is our greatest superpower. But we get so pulled in by the illusion that we're not there, that we're not that, right? Which is this template of struggle and lack and not enoughness, that it takes consciousness to remember that we're wholeness. It takes consciousness to align with that consistently till you get to that point where you realize that you are dwelling and playing in that higher timeline all of the time without effort. So I hope that this resonates. Please let me know if so, if you enjoyed this episode. go ahead and share it with someone who you feel will get benefit from it. If you love what you're hearing, a way that you can support this channel is to give us a review. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can, feel free to reach out to me and let me know how you're going. And I also have available in my membership that you can get one-to-one mentoring call with me once a month, in addition to being a part of the membership, which is one of the most affordable ways that you can work with me if you want me to support you on your expansion journey. There's a lot of different ways, so I'll pop those in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. And however you feel to move through this portal is right for you. Your soul is so powerful that nothing, no one, including me, no one outside of you can give you guidance that is going to be truer for you than what you already know within yourself. So give yourself, whatever you do, give yourself that space to feel into that, to tune into that. I love you so much. Go well, and we'll see you again soon.